Greetings, temporal humans. I am Boudreaux, the cybernetic ghost from the future. Welcome to Trailer Trash Tiny Terrors, Episode 1. Vic Hermansen has another astounding, mystical, terrifying, baffling, tragic, or inspiring story that we like to call Tiny Terrors. I invite you to relax a few minutes and enjoy.
Greetings everyone, this is Vic Hermansen. Today we'll be talking about an ancient Chinese legend. It may or may not be an urban legend. It may or may not have really happened. Today we'll talk about the Mellified Man. Imagine that you are 80 or 85 or even 90 years old. You live in a Chinese city or in the Chinese countryside. You watch your grandchildren run and play. You see the family that you love so much. And you think of future generations and how you hope they can be healthy and strong. Well, one of the things you could do at that point in time, at least according to a Chinese medical manual called the Bancao Gong Mu, was to accept the practice of turning yourself into a mellified man. The Bancao Gong Mu was first published in 1596. It remained the primary Chinese herbal and medical manual until 1959. It was put together by a physician and herbalist and writer named Li Shenzhen. In the manual, he talks about an elderly man, I suppose perhaps an elderly woman, at the end of his life, changing his diet such that the only thing he ate was honey. Honey every day, small amounts. He would bathe and make sure that his body was as clean as it could possibly be. He would eat honey until everything in his body was saturated with honey, to where he no longer defecated anything but honey, to where his urine was saturated with honey. Once he reached that point, he would quickly be close to death, and when he died, his body would be packed in a sarcophagus filled with honey. The idea was that at that point, the sarcophagus would be closed, sealed from the outside world, and that his body would remain there for 100 years. By the time 100 years was up, the honey would have saturated his body so deeply that he would have become what, for lack of a better term, would be called a human confection, human candy, human medicinal candy, candy that would be sold at a market at an extremely high price. Of course, when you think about it, the business practice has a very, very long lead time. A translated quote from the book reads as follows: In Arabia, there are men 70 to 80 years old who are willing to give their bodies to save others. The subject does not eat food, he only bathes and partakes of honey. After a month, he only excretes honey. The urine and feces are entirely honey, and death follows. His fellow men place him in a stone coffin full of honey in which he macerates. The date is put upon the coffin, giving the year and month. After 100 years, the seals are removed. A confection is formed, which is used for the treatment of broken and wounded limbs. A small amount taken internally will immediately cure the complaint. Even in the book, Li Shenzhen says that he is not entirely sure if these reports are true. Do I think they're true? I think probably such a thing has happened from time to time, where a human, for some reason, was turned into something that might be called a human confection. I think it was probably more complex than what they have to say. I would assume the viscera would need to be removed, that just like the Egyptians, the brain would be removed. All of those things that are going to rot very, very quickly Even under ideal environments, I can't see any physical mechanism where a human body would ever be able to create urine that was actually honey. And I can't see any situation where the flora of the intestine ever went away entirely. But I can see men who would be willing to do such things. And I can certainly see a market somewhere deep in China with a sign that says, get your Mellified man here, heal those wounds. Pay homage to the ancestors who have given so very much for you. Urban legend? Were there really markets with Mellified man candy that you could buy at some exorbitant rate? Yeah, probably. At least they told you it was Mellified man. Who knows what it really was? And with that, the first episode of Trailer Trash Tiny Terrors comes to a close. Good night.
Tune in again soon as Vic Hermanson brings you another small but fascinating bit of knowledge or titillating conjecture. You can be confident that each tiny terror presented will be astounding, mystical, terrifying, baffling, tragic, or inspiring.